Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade,
And I'm Scott.
and we're here to talk about a 2019 movie starring Riz Ahmed and Olivia Cook called The Sound of Metal. I saw this 2019.
Yeah, you saw it when it came out.
Yeah,
I remember
I
you
saw
telling me.
it came out. It was on one of my favorite movies of the year of that year. It's basically a tale of what would you say, kind of metal band? Was it probably
It's what happens.
grindcore death metal kind of band?
I would
Avant-garde metal.
I would put it more towards the noise genre.
Yeah, noisecore.
I'll put it this way: it's the story of what happens when someone in a noise band hears no more noise.
Yes, and it's his recovery from being basically deaf.
Well, not so much a recovery, but an understanding
Not
of the
recovery,
situation.
Yes. You can't recover,
right? Well, not just that, but like one of the key messages of the movie is, just because you're deaf, that doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're less than. It doesn't mean you can't. Sure, you may not be able to hear, audibly like we do, being able to hear and all, but you still have worth. You still have merit. You're still just as much human being as anybody else, and it's all symbolized in the moment, right when he gets put into the program. Because there's not really much that happens before he goes into the program. It's just kind of they do a couple shows, and then at some point during their set of gigs, they're setting up their merch table, and all of a sudden it just goes. His hearing is gone, and to his credit, he tries to get a set out, and it's not working. He freaks out, and
it's very as someone who has like tinnitus in this one ear, where sometimes your hearing just goes, and you hear ringing in your ear. That's frightening. Of just like all of a sudden, like they're just standing at the merch table. He's not playing while it happens. He's at a merch table. His hearing goes, and he's like, that's frightening stuff.
Right. And so it's kind of him. So for a while, it's him coping, trying to figure out what he can do. He goes to see a doctor who tells him how little hearing he actually has, and tells him about these implants that you can get that will help with hearing. The doctor never tells him, to the best of my knowledge, the doctor never tells him he'll have like perfect hearing,
Yes.
normal hearing again. But he's so determined to get these implants,
and determined, desperate, all that stuff.
and that leads him to this program that I don't know if it's necessarily to help people cope with becoming deaf, or if it's just a place that just helps deaf people of all walks of life.
Probably to adapt to it's a society, but the real world, to have them adapt into the normal hearing world,
right? To have them, I guess, help them have better control and understanding of what's going on with their body, and how to adapt it into the real world, as you said.
And the movie is really kind of like the big gel is that program that is not a resort, like camp kind of thing. The movie is really predicated to that. It's not just Riz Ahmed's Ruben character adapting to the hearing, but he's also evolving as a human.
Right. You can definitely tell, like, he's actually, like, kind of enjoying his time there. He's starting to open up. He's starting to understand.
He's kind of breaking off from Lou a little bit, and Lou's kind of breaking off from him. It's kind of like, it's a very big transitional, growing kind of period of a character. It's like a little small important moment of this person's life.
Right. And it's also him having to do this alone. He's doing it with the program, but he doesn't have his normal support in Lou. So,
and his strengths are stuff he does with his ears.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's got to be hard if you're a musician. I mean, being able to hear is very important.
Yeah.
And to be told that, like, you're not going to be able to hear again, like, that, I mean, that's got to do something to somebody who music is their life. It's what they do for a living. It's their passion.
And they even use their music as a way to help the deaf people that are there.
Right.
With more of like kind of like the rhythm stuff and the vibrations and stuff like that. Like it's a really nice like story about that.
And not only that, but like going back to what I was saying about the roof, there's a scene where Ruben takes it upon himself to fix a part of the roof, and the guy who runs the commune, I think you said, or not commune,
Joe.
the program, his name is Joe.
Yeah.
And he's not mad at him, but he's basically trying to teach him the golden rule of the program, which is there is nothing here that needs to be fixed, and that there's no one and nothing is broken in here. And that's powerful no matter what walk of life you come from. I mean, just because even if it, whether it be losing a sense or just just going through a really hard time, sometimes we can feel as if we are something broken and need a fixing, and in reality we don't. Sometimes we just need love and compassion.
And we need to accept and just accept it and take grow from it.
Right.
And the movie, I don't want to spoil the movie, but at the end is the last scene is a very touching scene, very nice scene of stillness and stuff like that.
Because he finally gets it.
Yeah.
After everything he's been through, not quite getting it, he finally, it just happens in this nice, beautiful moment, and it was a really nice way to close it with all the fact that we start with this like really noisy, aggressive band. To start with,
and a broken man,
but we start with that, and then we end on this like nice peace and calm. It's almost like it's almost like we went on a journey.
Yes,
not just Ruben.
Yes, it's almost like they used him as a way for us as a vehicle to get through. And also, I'll say this movie, and also a movie that came out last year called Coda. It really makes me want to learn sign language.
I mean, it's a very handy thing to have because you never know who's going to come in and who needs it.
And sadly, I wish we had we could do sign. That way we could do this review and sign also. Yeah. Put like a little thing in the corner.
Yeah. I mean, definitely something to think about in the future.
Yeah.
Now, before we go into anything else, I just want to ask. So the movie is called The Sound of Metal, and at no point do they say The Sound of Metal in the movie. However,
I see what you're getting at.
There is a scene in which a drill is making noise. Does that count as a title drop if it's the actual sound of what the title is describing?
You know what?
Let us know in the comments if that counts as a title drop. If it is, I'll let my wife know and we'll make a title drop post on our Instagram.
Mills Lane will allow it. So, Scott, would you recommend The Sound of Metal to the general audience?
I would. I don't anticipate this being a movie that a lot of people are going to love, but I think it's definitely a movie a lot of people are going to enjoy and respect. It's one of those movies that it's a journey that really can only be told once. It's not like The Sixth Sense where like at least you could get a second viewing of it because now that you know what the twist of that movie. He was dead the whole time. Sorry, old ass movie. Everybody knows. But like you can kind of go back and you can point out this. This isn't one of those movies where you can do that. And there's not like
this movie would be The Fifth Sense.
The Fourth Sense.
Fourth Sense. There you go.
But it's one of those movies that it's good. You're glad you watched it. But like you just know you're never gonna watch it again.
It's a one and done.
It really is, and it's very. And I mean, nobody's bad in this movie. It's it feels very natural. I said it off camera. I said the guy who played Ruben, he kind of really only had two. Riz Ahmed. He kind of really only had like two emotions, and it's like on the one hand you could look at that and say, oh, it means his performance wasn't very good. But I look at it as it kind of felt like a more natural, like it felt as close to a documentary at times as you could get without being a documentary.
It's authentic. It feels down to earth.
So yeah, I definitely recommend at least once in your life check it out if you want to watch like just like a good just a good well told story that might make you feel a couple emotions. It's worth your time.
I will also recommend this film. I mean, it was one of my favorite movies in 2019. But you did bring up a good point. It's a one and done kind of thing. I have not watched it since 2019. Well, this review obviously, but before that I have not watched it since.
But you remember it?
Yes. I remember liking it, and that's the main thing. But yeah, it's definitely a movie worth watching. It's not a spectacle. It's a very grounded, down to earth kind of tale. about this one guy that, has to overcome the hurdles. The classic story of the main character have to overcome a hurdle or something like that. But, it's not a handicap. It's a new way of learning. It's a new way of living life. It's a new way to see things and hear things in a different light.
Right. And also another thing this movie is not Whiplash. When Wade asked me, hey, do you want to do this movie? I thought it was going to be Whiplash.
Oh, that's a big old tense movie there.
Because
totally different movie.
Because I got them confused. I always thought Whiplash was this movie and Sound of Metal was that movie. And either way, I enjoyed myself. So what's wrong with that, right?
Whiplash is the opposite. This one's more of like kind of like a slow and steady kind of like movie. Whiplash is just anxiety. It's just anxiety, and J.K. Simmons, like, he's going to abuse this person.
Oh, I was chuckling for a second. Now I wish I hadn't.
Oh, he's a real asshole jazz teacher. I think Miles Teller was the drummer.
It's Miles Teller. He deserves it.
Yeah, who cares about Miles Teller? Anyway,
stop trying to make Miles Teller happen. He's never going to happen.
Anyway, so that's our thoughts on The Sound of Metal. Let us know in the comment section below what you think about this film. Any other suggestions for films in general? Anything that has where you hear drills or metal sounds? I don't know. I'm trying to find a good segue on there. Can't, because this movie's kind of like it's its own thing. So just make suggestions for any of the movies. We have Halloween coming up. Our spooky season's coming up. So October is going to be all horror movies. Follow us on Instagram, Condish Productions. Like, subscribe, and share to this channel. And that's about it.
And as always, support Meteor King. Meteor King.
Just look it up.
Sorry. MeteorKing.bandcamp.com. I'm sorry. His face. It threw me off. And you know what? I think it was more beautiful. We're leaving that in.
Yes. So until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm Scott.
And we'll see you later.